This conference will now be recorded.
Joan is?
Yes.
Okay. Is that her in the center? Who is that? Oh, it's Jennifer. Oh, Joan is JB, okay. All right, I've got 5:30. I'm Matt Rockney, Chair of the Planning Commission. And roll call on commission members. I see Bev Weenus is on board, Joan Bucher, Todd Hamill, Tom Steger, and myself. Is Bev Holzai on yet? Somebody coming on?
Yes.
Well, I'll just proceed, and if Bev Holzai tunes in, that's fine. So I'll call the meeting to order. First item is to adopt or amend the agenda, adopt the amended agenda, and it looks like there was one change adding 6C. Is that right, Brian?
Yes, I've added 6C, Carnegie Library residential use.
All right, is there a motion to approve the amended agenda?
I would make that motion, Weenus.
I'll second it, Steger.
Steger second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor by roll call, Weenus?
Aye.
Aye.
The Bucher? I'm sorry, Joan Bucher? Was that?
Aye.
Okay. Hamill?
Aye.
Steger said aye, right?
Yep.
And then Rockney, aye. Bev Holzai, is that you?
Yep, aye.
Okay, motion carried 6-0. Next, approval of the minutes from November 10th. Has everybody had a chance to review them? There's one change that Ryan pointed out under fee on the Houghton mining request. It was extending the quarry to the west on the second sentence there instead of to the east.
Did we vote last week to say that he could go east and expand?
To the west,
Last month we said to the west.
right.
Okay, so what is this time?
No, this is just a correction on the second sentence. It said east, but it was the correct word should be west.
Oh, it said it before that we were going to talk about east tonight, right? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying that we're correcting the proposed minutes that Ryan sent out said the quarry was going to the east, but in reality, it's to the west towards Highway 58. Am I right, Ryan?
Yes.
Does that make sense, Bev?
Okay. Yep, okay, yep.
Anybody have any other questions or comments, or is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Hamill motion. I'll second, Rocky second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor to approve the minutes as amended. Weenus,
Aye.
Bullseye,
Aye.
Bucher,
Aye.
Hamill,
Aye.
Steger,
Abstain.
abstain.
I wasn't there.
Okay. And Rockney, aye, so carries 5-0-1. Next, under number 4, there aren't any public hearings. Number 5, old business. Do we want to skip ahead or just go according to old business, Ryan? What do you think?
Your call.
Go ahead. 5A, old business on fences. Ryan, any updates?
No updates at this time. I have some emails out to other communities. I'm still waiting to hear back from them.
All right. Any buddy on the commission want to comment, or we'll wait until we get some more details the way other communities are dealing with front yard fences? Or does the commission have anything to say right now on that?
So then we'll table that until like next month, you mean?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Did we hear back from the state? Someone was going to check with the state to see what they thought about it, being that it was a state highway.
The state said that as long as nothing's within the right of way, they have no opinion or authority.
Okay, and it will not be within the right of way. Is that right?
Correct. And city council already approved that variance last meeting.
And the
Okay,
fence
thank
is,
you.
the fence is up. I don't know if anybody's noticed it, but you drive by and you hardly even notice it's there.
Except for the lights.
Except for the what?
They got Christmas lights on there.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, well, we'll revisit that at the next meeting then, keep it on the agenda. Then moving on to 6A, new commission volunteer Jen Prinz. Ryan?
Yes, we have a volunteer, is Jen Prinz. She is here in attendance tonight. Within your packet, she also has a letter to the planning and zoning. Within it, she expresses, or she lists a little bit of her experience. She has a master's degree in urban and urban and regional planning from the University of Minnesota. She also has worked over a decade within housing and community, a housing and community development firm in southwestern Minnesota. And she, I believe you currently work for, is it Three Rivers or Hiawatha Land Transit?
I'm employed by Three Rivers.
And working in transportation, I believe. Nope.
No,
Oh,
not
sorry
in transportation.
But works for Three Rivers. And if you have anything you'd like to add, please do.
Yeah, I guess I really care about the community, and I'm getting to know Zumbrota, and I think you guys were looking for volunteers, and I would be happy to be participating in it and helping Zumbrota to continue to develop and grow. So
That's great. Anybody have any questions for Ms. Prinz? Otherwise, probably a motion would be in order to recommend her approval to being added as a member, and then city council can vote on it at the next meeting.
I guess I'd be making the motion to recommend that she be approved for the commission. Steger?
I'll
Steger.
second that. Ross.
I guess you lose. All right, motion and a second. Any further discussion? Not all in favor. Weenus.
Aye.
Bullseye.
Aye.
Booker.
aye.
Hamel.
Aye.
Seeger.
Aye.
Rockne, aye. Motion carries 6-0. Look forward to having you on, Jen.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll see you next month, I guess.
Yes. On to 6B, request from EDA on 180th Avenue property. Ryan, anything?
Yes, so this is locally known as the old the Alco building. So he has a tenant for that building, Family Dollar, Dollar General. So they'll be taking up approximately 11,770 square feet out of an available 25,615 square feet. So the space that they're using up is not conducive to any other occupants. They're using a large chunk, including half the foyer and the loading dock and the bathroom. The space that's left over is kind of an L shape within the interior of the building. So Mr. Cheney, he's requesting assistance. He initially requested that this year's assessments be waived. However, the EDA has declined that option in favor of other avenues of assistance. So they've asked city staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission if it's possible to have an interim use to if an interim use permit would be applicable, so that way he can use the rest of that space for storage. For example, mini storage. So per the zoning ordinances within the C2 zone, no more than 30% of the space may be utilized for storage. So for a 25,615 square foot building, 7,685 is allowed for storage, of which Family Dollar is only using approximately 1,300 square feet, leaving 6,300 square feet for storage.
13,000 square feet. You said 1,300.
No, they're using 1,300 for storage. The entire space
How
that
many
they're
square,
using is about 11,000, close to 12,000 square feet. So they're using a chunk for their storage, but it wouldn't be enough to, essentially what is being left over is that would be unallocated space that could be used for storage is 6,300, and 7,400 would need to be used for other uses. However, with an interim use permit, he'd be able to use all of that space for storage.
So are we clear that well, first thing, the Dollar, what is it, Dollar General?
Family Dollar.
Family Dollar.
Family Dollar, that's a permitted use, right? In that,
Yes.
in highway commercial, so we don't have to take any action on that request.
None.
So it's simply a possible interim use on the storage aspect of it. We have to be careful because we had some restrictions on length of time on storage when he was using water filters as a tenant, right?
Yes.
mhm.
So what's the difference between that versus the request now? Is this a smaller area of storage or what?
Smaller area, and the primary tenant would be, we already have a primary tenant that fits within the permitted uses.
Right?
And
So this would be incidental somewhat?
it would be incidental to the building, and because of the shape of the space being used by that tenant, it makes it difficult for him to find any other tenants. But the primary use is still commercial and retail. So to satisfy the EDA's request that the primary tenant be, generate some sort of commercial traffic in there.
Say, Ryan,
Yes.
did I take it from his note that he was going to put in a separate entrance or whatever for the storage, maybe around on the south side there? Behind Family Dollar, is that the plan, or? I guess I'm thinking if he uses it for storage to have that in the front, that seems kind of out of place. But if the storage entrance was around back, that would be less obtrusive and might fit better.
It would be in that front entrance. So the Family Dollar would only use a little over half of that front foyer. But you'd use that front entrance to both Family Dollar and to the storage area.
That would not be very beneficial for Family Dollar to have that. What
Yeah.
does he want to store in there? You know,
Whomever he can find for a tenant.
he what? I can't hear you.
Whomever he would like for a tenant. He's said before that he's received requests in the past. He didn't say whom, but it would be, he would essentially like add another door into that front foyer. And then you'd access like probably most likely personal storage.
So larger ticket items, is there still a loading dock on the, what is it? That'd be like, well, the southwest corner, is there still a loading dock there?
Yep.
Yes, that's going to be used by Family Dollar.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
So any entrance into the storage area would be through the front door. Okay.
So large bulk items, you'd either need a trolley cart, or otherwise it wouldn't be able to fit.
He wouldn't be proposing like expanding the doorway in the front to, like almost another loading dock, would he, in the front?
I've received no such requests.
Would Family Dollar, we don't know, would Family Dollar agree to have that? Have somebody using virtually their same entrance?
Well, it would still be owned by Mr. Cheney since he owns the building, and they would just be
Right.
just renting space from him.
Right, but I mean, it doesn't seem to me like it'd be a very good idea to have a entrance to a storage unit right next to where people would be going in to buy things at Family Dollar.
Yeah.
And then how long would we let him have that as storage again?
Yeah, we do. That's kind of up to our discretion, I would think, and we can place restrictions on times when his tenants are entering or exiting that storage facility, I guess, if we felt it would be intrusive or impinging on the Family Dollar's business.
Steve Cheney says that he has to pay for an additional loading door and a front door in his original letter. So by reading that, he's adding another loading dock somewhere else.
I haven't seen any building plans modifying the current loading dock or building structure. But I have seen I've seen any building plans about adding another storage area.
Because what he says on this page, he says he's adding an additional loading dock and a front door. So my guess is Family Dollar is going to use one of the loading docks, and there's going to be another loading door for the other storage area. And that's in his first letter right there in the middle.
Yeah, and if that was around in the back side, kind of, I don't think it would be such a big deal. Then it would be not in the way of the retail business, as it were.
Yeah, it wouldn't be so intrusive, right?
And my guess is, in common sense, that he would not put that loading door in the front. It's going to be in the side somewhere.
You wouldn't think, but we'd need to pin him down.
Right.
We've had an experience with this person before, so we kind of have to be sure we got all our ducks in a row, I guess.
Not like Ben.
And how long would we allow?
I'm trying to remember procedurally if we called a public hearing or did we not?
We did not call a public hearing for this yet. If you'd like more, I could try and get more information from him on the structural changes he'd be making for this before we call for a public hearing.
That would be good. Does his rental to Family Dollar depend upon whether he can use that for storage?
No.
Do you think?
They're
going to come in anyway.
Yes. They'll be opening in the beginning of January, so in about 3 to 4 weeks.
Really?
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Was he expecting action from us tonight on his other request or not?
I told him that I'll have it. I don't know if he's depending on action. I told him that, well, it ultimately depends on, you're the one, this committee is the one, making the decision on that. But if you don't feel comfortable with the information you have, then you can table it until next month.
Well, do we need to do a public hearing for something like this? I guess I don't know the procedure.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I just asked you, and you said we didn't call one last time.
Oh, for the previous, I thought you meant, have we already initiated one? Oh, that's my bad. That is my fault. That I don't know. I would have to, reading through the ordinances, the procedure for interim use follows that of conditional use permit.
Mm-hmm. So we must have called a public hearing last time around then.
I don't remember if we did or not.
I'd have to go back and look at the minutes, but in the ordinances, it says that we have to follow the procedure of a CUP.
Just trying to be.
Does our 60-day rule have any bearing on this? Do we have to decide within 60 days? How long have we worked on this?
This would be the first day. Asking action from the council within 60 days.
So we're still good.
Might be officially really applied to, the interim use permit's a little bit more of a fuzzy area. I mean, it's allowed by ordinance, but if there's a request for a CUP or a zoning or a variance, there's an application, there's a filing fee, filing date, starts the 60 days. But I don't know if this is really interpreted as a request for an interim use permit, or are you just putting in front of us how we'd like to see this done?
Yeah, we don't want to get caught in that. Otherwise, he could go ahead and do it, if we miss it.
So,
We want to be sure we're within the rule.
yes, we do not have an official application because this was
Okay,
referred to this body by the EDA. And then I asked Mr. Cheney if he would like this to go forward, or if he'd like me to pull it. He said, yes, he'd like it to go forward.
Well, I'm sure we could, let's see, the next meeting would be, well, I guess we'd have to figure out when the date of filing was, and if by the next January planning and council meeting, if we'll be fine on the 60-day rule. I mean, we can always, I think you get a one-time request for an extension or a unilateral an extension that we could do if we needed more information. So we're probably all right on that. But
okay.
it sounds like we need more information from him, exactly what he's proposing to do on the loading dock and expansion of the front door, and where he would expect the traffic flow to be compared to the traffic flow for the Family Dollar, right?
Right.
Okay.
Think we could have that information for the next meeting?
Yes.
So should we table that and revisit at the next planning meeting?
Yes, I would make a motion that we table this request for now and then discuss it at our planning meeting in January.
We basically just want to know if he's going to add a second door for the storage area part of the building.
And where?
Yeah.
Right.
If it's all going to be on the south side, I think we'll all be okay with it. But if the loading dock's going to be in the front, I think we're going to have issues with that.
All right, Bev, we made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Hamel, second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, Weenus,
Aye.
Bullseye,
Aye.
Luker,
Aye.
Hamel,
Aye.
Steger,
Aye.
Rockne, aye. Motion carries 6-0-0. So we'll revisit this at the next meeting, hopefully. Next item, 6C, Carnegie Library.
Yeah.
Ryan.
So the old Carnegie Library building, it's up for sale, and multiple potential buyers have made inquiries to staff about using the floor of the using one of the floors of the building for residential purposes. So, and the zoning ordinances for the C1 Central Business District state that with a CUP, the residences can be allowed in the second or third floor of the building. However, the layout of the building and the floor plan, the primary use area is that upper floor, and that the accessory use would be the lower floor. So what I'm asking for is, how would the planning and zoning like me to direct people into what course of action if they want to use the lower space for residential, to remodel that to a condo or rental uses for residences?
Ryan, one question that comes to mind, are they looking at just having residential on the lower level and not doing anything upstairs, or how would that work?
If inquiries I've received are, one person wanted to do, like multiple people just wanted to turn that lower area into apartment buildings and then have the upper floor be commercial yet. And one other person had mentioned that they wanted to turn the entire building into residence, but that would require a change, a rezone or a change of use.
I guess I was wondering if they put residential downstairs, are they going to be seriously trying to get some kind of commercial use upstairs?
So
Old crossing.
that I don't know. I guess it depends on on them as the property owner.
Yeah.
There are multiple other buildings within our downtown that have apartment buildings in their upper floors and then commercial use within their lower levels. So would this require a CUP or change to the ordinance itself?
Or a variance, I don't know.
I mean, my opinion on the topic is it's a unique property, a unique situation. I'd be okay for them putting them apartments on the floor, in the basement, however is the best way to approach it.
And it is located right across from, what is there? Is there a window and siding place? And then that lady that wanted to put the shed, isn't that right across the street from there?
Yep.
It isn't like it's a commercial property sitting out, in a strictly commercial area either.
We got Ace Hardware across the road, laundromat,
Yeah.
kitty corner behind that.
Yeah, it really doesn't have a second or third floor. The main floor is the commercial part, and then there's kind of a basement. So it's not really, it's a different situation than the buildings on Main Street, which our ordinance sort of addresses. So if we were leading towards maybe entertaining it or allowing it, the question is, do we still go through the CUP process even though the ordinance doesn't really allow it? Or do we consider it a variance? Or
What is actually the purpose of that ordinance, Matt? That when it came in effect that you couldn't have residential on the main floor and do commercial on the second or third. I mean, what was the purpose of that? If any?
Maybe to keep on Main Street, to keep people from walking in from Main Street into a place where people had their residence. That building has such a unique style to it. You really don't think of that lower level as being a basement.
I guess the purpose of it, I think, is to the downtown business area. We didn't want to keep it commercially focused. Don't want to allow residential on the main floor.
Mm-hmm. And if I don't think we'd go the variance route, because that is to be based on a hardship. And there really is no hardship. We'd have to go with the CUP, and I wouldn't think we should change the ordinance. That we don't want to do that. You probably have to go with the CUP if we're going to do it.
If you want to get technical, the variance is practical difficulties, but I agree that'd be a tough sell. On the other hand, a CUP isn't just a wide open deal. It has to be sort of allowed by the ordinance, which, if you want to get ultimately technical here, since there isn't a second or third floor, it's not really even allowed by the ordinance right now. But
Yeah, the ordinance doesn't specify about basements, which is essentially what we're dealing with.
yeah, I kind of agree with you, Tom, though. I mean, if you put a residence downstairs, how much of a commercial use is going to be allowed upstairs without it being a complete
Right.
nightmare living downstairs?
Or desired, if you had your residence there, would you want a commercial use upstairs?
Yeah, right. But I don't know. I guess that's maybe it's not too objectionable just from a zoning standpoint. It's more a practical issue for the property owner. Yeah, maybe in this situation, we could treat it like a CUP, even though technically the ordinance doesn't contemplate it. It's just a unique building that really doesn't have a second or third floor, but it's still in the C1 or the C1
Right.
district.
Has it ever come up with basements in any other buildings, commercial buildings?
It is not
Like
for
like
me.
the old yarn shop there, that basement. One could call that a basement and use it for residential if one wanted to do that.
Yeah, no, it hasn't come before me in terms of wanting to use basements as commercial within the C1 district.
Yeah, I'm
Remember
just
the
thinking,
old-
would we be opening a can of worms?
Right.
Yeah, we have to watch out for that.
What, was anybody here when there was a request from, was it Dave Frederickson, where the old plumber was? They wanted to convert a portion of that building, maybe on the main floor, to almost like a hotel, a short-term rental, like a Verbo or a hotel room. And if I remember right, that was kind of the request, and we kind of shot that request down. But
Yeah,
that was
we
on the main
decided that
floor.
that wouldn't be a good, right, yeah.
Right.
Remember that, Bev?
Remember that. Yes, I do.
That was a different.
That's quite a while ago.
That was main floor. I guess I personally wouldn't have a problem if they wanted to file an app for a CUP, unless somebody else has other thoughts.
Yeah, they can file, it doesn't mean we're going to approve it.
Right.
But where that library sits, there are houses, you know, within a stone's throw of where that is. So it isn't, like I say, it isn't like it's out in the middle of a absolutely commercial district either. So it would
Wow.
fit in there if somebody wanted to live in there. Part of that, I would think.
What if, hypothetically, what if somebody ultimately wanted to convert it all to a condominium, you know, split up the main level into maybe one large unit or two smaller units, and there's no commercial use anymore. I mean, it's a unique property. Maybe that would fly. Kind of goes against our strategic plan on keeping the C1 district all primarily commercial.
That would be the most desirable. I would think that would be the most desirable if they would make it all into like condos in there instead of trying to have it mixed.
Or is that something we wouldn't want to permit since it's in the C1 district and we want to promote commercial in the downtown as much as possible?
Right.
Well, this is sort of off the downtown. It isn't like it's right down where we're trying to preserve what we've got, in
Yeah,
my
but
opinion.
You got commercial businesses on three sides of it.
One,
Of course,
two,
the
three.
museum and the theater are those commercial businesses, really.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one.
So what do we need to do here? Do we need to say if we think it should,
All I'm looking
they
for
should
right
have a CUP on it or what?
All I'm looking for right now is guidance on how to best direct inquiries. So if somebody comes to me and they say that they're thinking about buying it, what can they do with it? I'd like to tell them like, okay, well, this is the process to, if you decide to, if you need a CUP, this is the process for that. Or if it's not allowed, then it's not allowed. As that would inform whether they choose to purchase a building or not.
How did that topic come up? You just doing it just to be ahead of the game, or did somebody already ask about it?
They've been asking about it,
Possible buyers or the seller?
possible buyers.
Okay. That building's gonna be tough for anything. I mean.
Yeah, it will be
Yeah,
difficult.
it is.
Yeah, handicap access.
That is the biggest.
It's perfect for what they're using it for now, the arts and things.
I don't know. I mean, I guess my opinion, the direction is to send them to a CUP and see what they got for plans. I mean,
I think that would be the best of all the options, right?
Otherwise, we could just deny it and say it just doesn't fit the principles of our ordinance and it has to stay completely commercial. But if you want to open that door, we could, Ryan could instruct them to, if they're interested, to file a request for a CUP.
This is almost related to that one over at the Pizza Cabin where he was talking about putting condos there. I don't know where that one's gone.
Right.
Last I've heard about that one is he is working with an architect, but I haven't heard any progress. He would still like to keep the Pizza Cabin and that as commercial. He'd just like add on condos.
Right behind it.
Yes.
I guess I'm all right with a mixed use. I just hate to see slowly the downtown business district getting eroded away or whittled away, yielding to residential, but does anybody want to make a motion or just instruct Ryan to reach out to them and say, if you want to try filing for a CUP, go ahead for the basement, but there's no guarantees.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Yeah.
All right. Everybody comfortable with that or?
Yeah, and I guess generally I like the idea of have a residential in the basement, and if they go upstairs, it would still kind of fit.
We're getting feedback from somebody that isn't muted. It's hard to hear. There, okay, that's good.
Okay. Well, we probably don't need a motion. We'll just
I'll go with
contact
that.
them. All right.
I'll go with that guidance.
All right, then on to item 7A, reports. Brian.
So the city received our estimates for the 2021 taxable market values for properties within Zumbrota. For residential properties within the city, the estimated taxable market value has increased approximately 13% on average. For homes that are newly built or within larger homes, they've increased upwards, possibly like some once or twice up to around 30% in their home value, closer to 40%. So market value is calculated by looking at recent home sales in the area. Zumbrota in 2020, for Zumbrota, their homes were sold at values that raised the overall market by approximately 13%. So simply put, it's a seller's market. The available supply is low and the demand is high, resulting in sellers being able to demand higher values for their home sales. Assuming that a continued lack of supply and Zumbrota remaining a desirable place to live, home values will continue to increase. Over the long term, this may result in those already living on the margins, or especially those with fixed incomes, will be continually squeezed and not be able to afford to live in Zumbrota. So with the 2020 Goodhue County housing study revealed that there are there are 511 general occupancy housing units that are needed for Zumbrota's market from between 2020 and 2030. Units across all price points and across all styles and density. So with the apartment complex going in at approximately, at 57 units, hopefully that should help stabilize the market a bit by allowing to meet some of that demand and allowing move up housing to open up for people that are looking for it. By absorbing some people who may be looking to downsize. However, there's still a significant demand for housing units within Zumbrota, and looking forward at about like 15 to 20 years down the road, it is a concern that if the supply does not keep up with demand, house values will continue to outpace what people can afford. So I'm city staff, we're working on trying to set up a new update to the comprehensive plan and strategic plans. So that would be one item to keep at least your eye on. So if there are any comments or questions.
Well, I'd kind of like to comment on the taxes. When the taxes keep going up, we kind of wonder how long we can afford to live in Zumbrota too.
Yes.
It's getting kind of out of hand.
Yes.
Right now there's only 9 houses for sale in Zumbrota. In the summer, we'll sometimes run, 20 to 30 to 40 sometimes. There's 15 that are pending, that have been sold, that are waiting to close. So we're definitely down in inventory, that's for sure.
Yes, the increase in taxes is, or what you're seeing on your tax statement, is being driven solely by the increase in value. The levy or the levy for the city budget, when looked at, when keeping it at like that in ratio with the increase in value, the levy over the past several years has not been as high as it would have been if it would have kept pace with the values. So over time, what we're seeing is the values, and strictly the rise in values, is the thing that's increasing. Therefore, your tax increases.
And that increased value doesn't do anybody any good until they sell. In the meantime,
Right.
They're trying to hang on to their house. They've got to pay the exorbitant real estate taxes.
Yes, that is correct. It doesn't help anybody who's not looking to sell at this time.
That's right. That's
As
right.
far as available lots, we've got continued lots in the golf course subdivision. I was wondering, where are things at on remember the Mona property that was annexed? And then I can't remember if that annexation was reversed or canceled. But that was across the highway, right? Like where that one solar array is going up is on the edge
Yes.
of that. Is that still in the works for possible residential development?
It's zoned for residential.
Yep.
But there's nobody come across looking to develop it.
Okay.
So right now it's still being used for row crops, agriculture.
Right.
How many available lots are there in Zumbrota now?
I will.
That would have
I will have that in the annual report that I'll be reporting next month. If I can remember correctly, there's a few dozen, but if you include all that has not been platted yet, including up in Highlands, they're within their original general concept. If they were to plat all of that, we'd have about over 200 open lots, but none of that has been final graded or platted and services brought to all of that. They will be opening up 30 more single-family home lots this fairly soon. They're working on the They just platted Highland 6. I'm not sure how many lots are available offhand in Woodlands. And I believe Trailstead has maybe 4 or 5 open lots for Trailstead
Mhm.
Second Edition.
Okay. Now, is Wobig putting townhouses, a couple of townhouses in up here, I heard,
This
when I
week,
talked to Cody the other day?
We've heard that as, I've heard him say that he might want to do that, but I've not seen any concept plans. I've not seen any sort of paperwork showing that that is what he wants to do. The annexation was finalized. We got the order from the administrative judge. So regardless of what he wants to do, he's going to need to plat the area and have a developer's agreement. So that way everything can be controlled as to how he puts it in.
Okay, now is that annexation, did you say it's almost done, or it is done, or what?
It is done.
Oh, so, okay, so do you have control of it now, the city?
Anything going for, anything new, if he's submitted an application, that's going to be finalized by the county.
Okay,
If there's anything new starting yesterday or the day before, starting yesterday, then he'll need to go through the city.
okay, when I talked to Cody about a week ago, he said that there was plans for 2 townhouses to go in up there, and I didn't, that's all he said, that he knew of.
I've not seen those plans, and nobody from the county has seen those plans either.
Okay,
Sounds
Okay.
like you'd have to file a request for building permit with the city then.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions for Ryan?
I'm wondering about waste management. Are they coming back to town now?
That I don't know. Brian has been handling
I
that.
got a notice. I got a card in the mail from Waste Management, and they said for now to send my money to Alliant, but they had, Alliant, I think it's called, but they had bought them out. Waste Management has bought out Alliance, and they're going to be running the garbage again.
I am
I
not
have
sure
I have.
for bids.
It's advanced.
Pardon?
It's advanced disposal.
Oh, Advance. Yeah, they bought out Advanced Disposal, and
Right.
Waste Management would then be our garbage collector.
For
It's going
now,
to be.
I think the garbage hauling contract is up at the end of this year, so it's going to
end of
be
January.
end of January.
Okay.
So it's going through a bidding process as we speak.
Yes.
Oh, so you don't necessarily have to use Waste Management then?
Well, we'll see who's the low bidder.
Okay, I see. All right. That answers my question. Thank you.
I had one other quick follow-up from our last meeting, that request, that Chad and Melinda Nelson variance request. They still needed to do some sort of deed restriction to tie that little strip together. Do you know if they've done that or?
Nothing has come through our office yet.
Okay,
I'll reach out to them and ask them what the status is on that.
okay. Probably don't want to let that drop.
Yeah.
All right, anything else? Otherwise, does anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the
move it.
motion, Weenus.
Steger second.
Further discussion? If not, all in favor, Weenus,
Aye.
Bullseye,
Aye.
Hooker,
Aye.
Hamel, Steger,
Aye.
Rockney, aye. Motion carries. Meeting's over. We'll see you next year.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
That's right. Merry Christmas.
Welcome, Jen.